T's and C's of Life podcast with Tanya and Claire.
Hi.
Now, this is our second take at doing this because apparently I was staring at the screen very intently.
She really was. She was proper staring it out. It was weird. It was very odd. But
oh dear.
We'll get it one day. We'll start on a normal kill.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe. Just don't stare at me. Just
I know. That's what I did this time. I looked down.
Look into the distance.
Okay, I'm staring into the distance. At the life I wish I had.
Oh dear. Well, welcome back and thank you for listening and continuing to listen and seeing us through to episode 23.
Yes.
Which is very cool. Who'd have thought it, eh? 23.
I know. Feels really quick as well. But then it also feels like we've been doing it for ages, so it's a bit of a middle...
Well, we started in November. It's been going a while.
What month are we in? May?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just had my birthday.
You did just have your birthday.
Happy birthday to
And you
me.
did have some people wishing you happy birthday, didn't you, on the...
Yes, I did. So thank you
group,
all very
which is
much
nice.
for the love and the comments and the birthday wishes. It's all very much appreciated and very warmly received.
Yeah. Oh, so now you're 47.
Yeah, minus 10 years.
Okay. Not that old.
Now, this is our penultimate episode for this season. We are going to make it to 24, I've decided, because I can't do uneven.
I'm not great with odd numbers. Uneven. Odd numbers. But yeah, alright.
So this episode, we are talking about sex, baby.
Oh, Lord.
There was a recommendation or a suggestion early on in the season from a listener. I can't remember who it was, but I remember writing it down. And she says, we want you to talk about luxury time. So, and actually, one of our listeners who references luxury time a lot to me gets it wrong. She gets it wrong.
Doesn't realise it's sex.
No, I don't think she does.
Oh, does she use it in... like
Really
conversation?
weird references.
No.
And I'm like, you do know that the reference was about having sex. Like that was what it was.
That was what it was.
Yeah, I'm not gonna name
We're
you.
not outing her.
No, I'm not gonna out her. That's a shame. But,
oh dear.
Nice. So I had a friend over in the hot tub a few weeks ago.
The magic hot tub.
In the magic hot tub, yeah. We should call it the magic chemical pool.
Oh, no, that sounds
It
good.
is a chemical pool though.
I know,
really.
but that doesn't sound as inviting.
It doesn't, but it's true. And as soon as we'd kind of gotten into the water and started drinking our drinks, she says to me, have you ever been caught in the act by one of your kids? And I was like, oh, actually, I don't think we have.
Oh.
I don't think so. We may have done when the kids are really little. But I know it's one of those things that every parent fears, like your kids catching it. I remember one of my friends telling me once that her eldest son, he must have been about 7 at the time, caught her in an unexcusable compromising position,
God.
like dick in the mouth kind of position.
God!
And she didn't know how to explain it, so she just avoided it. She
my
never discussed
God.
it at all.
That fills me with... Oh, God, I can't even speak. Wow.
I know.
How'd you get round... You don't get round
Well,
that.
I can't... he was maybe younger than 7. Because at 7 you'd remember. But anyway, it was kind of by the by, and there was never any big deal about it, but it was it's like your fucking worst nightmare.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, there's Trevor making his skinning out. I'm not involved in this.
Yeah, do you want to join in, Trev?
But this particular friend that I was drinking with this night, I had recommended a book to her for her daughter. And it's one that I bought for my kids earlier on this year, and it's by Adam Kay. So he wrote...
Right.
Oh, what am
Gonna
I
hurt.
Yeah, this is going to hurt. Yeah, the doctor. So he's written a kid's
okay.
book about the body, and it's lots of different aspects of the body. But at the end of the book is about puberty and reproduction, and it actually explains how babies are made. So it's I didn't realise that was in the book. But it's a really nice way of educating your children if you want to kind of have that hands-off conversation with them. And she said that her daughter absolutely adores the book. Like, it couldn't have been a better book recommendation for her. But she had read that section, so she knows fully what sex is. And she came into the room and she said to her mum and dad, and she says, I know what you're doing.
Oh! No!
Oh dear. Yeah, it's just cringe, isn't it? I mean, it's such a natural thing, but why are we so funny about it?
Because it's not natural in front of your kids.
No, not in front of your kids. Like, not a performance in front of your kids.
Yeah,
but
that would be really weird.
What age do you speak to your children about it?
I don't know. Like, it's weird because obviously mine are teenagers, mostly. Like, Boo's not quite there. But I know we had the conversation a very long time ago, but I've got the worst memory anyway in the world. So I can't remember what was said or how it was explained. It's just sort of... Do you know what? I'm not going to tell that story because Callum will shout at me.
Your poor kids really get it on the outtakes of this podcast.
This is honestly, I do. I go to say stuff and I'm like, no. And Charlie was telling me earlier, he's like, I'm going to listen. What do you say? Nothing. Don't ever listen. Don't ever listen. It's fine, Charlie. It's fine. God, he'd hate me. But no, they did do it in school and it didn't go down that well, shall we say.
Okay.
With Callum. And then... Yeah, they've all had it at school. Boo, actually, I think, is having it in the minute, but they've very much broken it down to, like you said, like more puberty and bits like that, as opposed to, like, this goes in there kind of thing. But, yeah, I think they've known, and now, obviously, mine are older, so we watch telly, and that's weird, even still for me, to watch a film and people start getting a bit touchy-feely, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this with my kids. Don't want to do it. It's weird. Do
you know what? As a kid, whenever we watched films, me, my sisters, and my brother would be sitting watching a film with Mum, and it could be like My Little Pony, watching My Little Pony, and my dad would walk in, and My Little Pony gets humped by the stallion. My dad always walked in at the sex scene.
Oh God!
It could be only one kiss in the whole film. And my dad walked in, and he made it so weird. Like, that's them having sex on the telly again. You're like, oh my God, just stop fucking talking.
Oh, that is so wrong.
It's awful. It was so cringeworthy. Because the way I learnt about it, apart from like what you learn from your friends and things at school, was my mum gave me a Living and Growing VHS, and it was one that we'd been watching at school. And she'd recorded it off the BBC and gave me this VHS, and she says, watch this and you'll learn everything you need to know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just really weird. Wow. Yeah, I know. Really awful.
Did you learn everything you needed to know?
Well, it was really quite graphic, actually. It was really... But it would have been nice to just have somebody sat there beside me. Like, so I didn't feel like it was such a prudent thing. Sat there by myself, locked in the sitting room, watching this bloody...
Yeah, no, that's...
Weird.
But is there any... I don't know.
What's the right way of doing it?
Yeah, how... Because it's always going to be... It is always going to be awkward. No one can tell me any different. Like, I don't remember my parents having it because I've probably blanked it out my brain because I didn't want to have that conversation. I still don't want to think about them having sex, let alone them talking to me about sex and then, like, passing that... Like, no, just none of it. No. But I did recently talk to the boys about consent because I'm very... much on that, and that I was like, they were quite uncomfortable that we'd watched one of the girls at work had done a presentation. We do different presentations on subjects, and she was doing consent, and there's a really good YouTube video, and it's about a cup of tea and offering someone a cup of tea, but it's all around consent. And I sort of said to the kids, and there was another video, I can't remember what the other one was, and I just said, right, we've done these at work, watch them. They were like, I don't want to watch it, don't need to watch it. Watch them, or I'm going to sit down and watch them with you. Yeah. That is your choice. And they were like, and they both watched them, and we had a little talk afterwards, and it was fine. And then had left it, and then I watched some programme on Netflix of boys just sort of gang raping girls, and I was like, I just need to make sure. I know my kids are not that kind of boys, but you know, when
you just need to make sure they know the level.
Like, said it explicitly, and I did, and I just said consent, respect, massive. If you're not sure, and you're not 100% sure that it's a yes, then it's a no. That's no. And if it is a yes, you wrap it up. Like, we ain't having no babies kind of thing. It was very... And they were... I think because they're big enough now, they were like, no, of course, Mum. Like, and they have always been respectful. Yeah. But that wasn't awkward. Whereas if I was saying, now this is how babies are born, that's just... I don't want to talk about their dicks. Yeah. Just even saying the boy like that. I don't like it.
Oh, it is. I think as a British nation, we are very uncomfortable with. Yeah, we're very prudish about the conversations we have around our bodies, and around sex. And, you know, Trev and I quite often talk about what is a normal, like, what is normal when it comes to your sex life? Like, how often do you have sex, and how often do other people have sex?
I think between I'm not answering the question. Lying. God, no. But I think it's something that we, like, as friends, I think I talk to, like, my girlfriends about it, because that's quite normal. Like, with certain friends, it's a conversation. I know lots about it. Like, a lot of my friends' sex lives. I wish I didn't know as much sometimes, but it's all right. Like, oh, God.
And then the mists.
Oh, the chicken. Was it the chicken? Weren't there a chicken?
Was chicken porn. That was just bad. That was uncomfortable. And that's another good friend that we shall not call out.
Oh, chicken porn. Oh, dear
We
God.
have to clarify that she didn't actually enjoy it. It was just something that somebody had sent her and had just showed us at a gathering. And was,
but I think, because I was talking about the boy that shagged a chicken when I used to rep as well.
Oh, God,
While he was on holiday with his girlfriend, and then she caught him shagging a chicken. Random. I don't really understand. But then, then this friend was like, no, there's chicken porn. And it just, it goes off on a tangent. But, no.
No, I know.
No. Oh. See, and I'm not a prude, but there are certain, just come on. There are certain, just no. But I'm happy to have the conversation about sex with my friends. That's normal. But I don't know that, saying that, like, when we have conversations about sex, it's as banter or as fun. Do we ever have it in a serious
No, we're not. Because even now we're skirting around it. Even just doing this podcast, we're skirting around it. Because it's, I think, to talk about previous relationships or previous encounters is okay if you're not in a relationship with somebody, because that's disrespectful to both, really, not the person that if you don't talk about the person beforehand to call them out, but for your husband or your partner or your girlfriend, whoever it is you're with at the time, if you then talk about previous encounters in a really open manner. I was watching a TV show the other night, Fleabag, and the stepmom, it's brilliant. The stepmom was having this, she's an artist, and she was having this sexhibition. She's an artist, and it was all about her journey as a woman from when she was 11 years old, when she had her first orgasm. I mean, this is all fictional. How much fiction it is, I don't know. But she had her first orgasm on a bidet when she was 11 years old.
Oh, dear God.
And I've had friends talk to me about like enjoying the bubbles, being aware of the bubbles in the jacuzzi when they were young.
I was going to say, were they in there with you?
Oh, no, not my fucking hot tub. Jesus.
Oh, I thought he was in there for a while at your party the other day.
Bloody hell. No, not that. But as a young girl, she was aware of the bubbles in places on the seat of the... If you can imagine, like, the mosaic seats, and they've got the jets all over. And I can see what she means, because it's the cold air, it's coming through, and it's tantalising.
Oh, dear God.
But I did find this sex exhibition, and her two adult stepdaughters were incredibly uncomfortable with it, as anybody would be. Yeah. But should we? Like, if I see you as a person, you're fully dressed, but I know you're naked underneath. I know we all have the same underneath in various different forms and shapes, and we all have relationships with other people, and it's a thing that we all know we do, but we just don't talk about it. Like you said, in a normal, like a concerning, like, like, it is always banter, isn't it?
Yeah. And it is, I suppose, as well, it's the brandishing of labels as well. If you talk about it too much and you say that you've slept with this many people, especially as a woman, then you're brandished as a slag. So people do probably keep it more undercover as well, because then do you want to be called something for actually when you shouldn't? So it's a conversation that can have so many different layers to it, and depending on who you're talking to, you don't know how they're going to take that conversation, or how they're going to then judge you. And if you say, even as with your partner, if you say, right, well, I only have sex once a month, are people then going to judge you for that? Like,
because it's not like when I said about what is normal, there is no normal. It's just what's normal for you and your partner. Like, what is comfortable. And when you've got kids, it's difficult, like, because there's always a I mean, for me and Trev, he has a particular time of the day that he wants it, and it's not my time of the day. And at my time of the day, he's not around. It's not his time of day, so it does get a bit annoying. So you then have to try and find this kind of happy medium. And when he was first home from his accident, or when he was first kind of rehabilitating, and he was at home more. I remember having a conversation with some friends we were talking about sex and like when do they do it and whatever. And I'd let slip that we tended to have daytime sex because the kids were at school. Yeah. And I felt so fucking ashamed.
Really?
Yes! I felt so embarrassed and ashamed.
Because of their reaction, or...
Kind of. Okay. Yeah. And it's a time of day that there could be people in the house. It's a time of day where... like, people could just walk in, or you could get a delivery, or the phone might go, like, it's not the morning and it's not the night time. Yeah. I don't know, it just felt really, really weird. Really weird.
Okay.
And, the reaction kind of made me feel a little bit like, shit, why did I say that? And it wasn't like I could just rewind and
I bet there's a lot of people that is very, very common, especially that have got kids. If you get a, afternoon and there's no kids around, then something's getting jumped on. I think that's very normal, really. And it is, because when you've got kids, you've got to pick, you can't, especially little kids, like mine are now big, but then you have that worry of they're big, they fully know that, so that you have a different concern. But they're never around, like they're in their rooms, they don't want to sit with me. Whereas when they're little, they're always there. And if you disappear for 5-10 minutes, where you going? What are you doing? Can I come in here? Like, fuck off. That's just the dogs now that follow us around. You know, that's still weird. Like trying to watch. Just weird. Always an eye. But
we've had the cat. The cat has appeared on occasion or just come out from somewhere, and you're like, oh my God, I can't concentrate now. The cat is literally staring at me. Or she's like rubbing her head up against your leg, and you're like, no, fuck off, get small.
That's just wrong. Just wrong. No, it's weird, and I wonder, like, culturally of it is, because there are some cultures where sex just is talked about more openly, aren't there?
Yeah.
That I think maybe it is a bit of a British thing, that we are a bit prudish.
Yeah.
But
there is a fine line, isn't there, between being prudish about it, being sensible, and actually protecting and safeguarding your children from something that, although yes, it is totally natural, and they will at some point in their lives begin to do it for themselves, but you don't want their first experience of it to be your ass bobbing up and down on dad. Like, that is just not cool.
No. I wonder how many people have seen. I don't feel that I've ever... my parents were never really together, besides to have babies. So the only time they were together was probably to do that. And I don't remember ever catching him or catching either of them with other partners.
No, I haven't ever.
No, and I really wouldn't.
I remember my mum and dad got a lock on their door at one point, but it was always because they'd said it was... Gregor was... He was quite little. I was 11 when Gregor was born, so there was quite a big age gap there. So they told me that the reason that there was the lock on the door was so that Gregor couldn't get up in the middle of the night, and because he used to sleep with mum, it's so he couldn't get up and just go off and wander down the stairs. And I was only little, so but I think I must have been getting towards the age where it was kind of like, there's a lock on mum and dad's door. Why would they do that? And question it more than... And like, I swallowed the answer of, well, it was to save Gregor from falling down the stairs. But, it probably wasn't. Probably not.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I'm never going to ask.
No, that's the thing.
If my mum were to ask me, so did you enjoy being pregnant with your children? I wasn't pregnant. No.
Oh, shut up.
No, I had my children were gifted to me with a stork.
Really?
Oh yeah, God, have a conversation about sex with my mum.
Yeah, but that's not sex, that's pregnancy, that's different.
Yeah, I know, but how did I get pregnant?
The stork brought a baby.
When I was overdue with Freya, I was 10 days overdue with her by the time I had her. And I remember Mum saying to me and Trevor one night, just get upstairs and have sex in 2 years. And I was like,
God!
Oh my God, no. I cannot have my mum. Because if we had, that would have just been so weird.
Yeah, no, that's really weird.
And it was like the first time she'd ever said it to me as well, like in a kind of, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I know what I'm saying, kind of like,
that's really
because I never had it as a teenager. It wasn't a, come on Claire, let's sit down and talk about it.
It was just that, go and let your husband shag you.
Yeah, I know.
Baby.
Needless to say, we didn't do it.
No, I don't know. Yeah, Mum's just downstairs. Don't worry.
I think she actually said she'd go out and take the kids away for a few
hours. A few hours. Good on her.
Oh, no,
Good
for a wee while.
Oh, for a wee while.
For a wee while, yeah.
No, see, I remember my dad coming to the hospital when I was pregnant, or when I was giving birth to Callum, and my dad is my safe space. He's like, there's just something in his aura that makes me calm. And so he came back literally towards the time of pushing this baby out, and I was like, I need my dad. And he's come in, and obviously my legs are akimbo, but he's sort of faced the wall and upped along the wall until he got to my head and then held my hand, and I was like, God, yeah, don't look there, Dad. And he's like, no. It's
wow.
like, you could have, no.
Yeah.
No, not even during
You know what it looks like, but you don't need to see mine.
No! Never needs to happen. No, and he did not. But, you don't need to do that. Don't need to see that. Whereas my mum was like, in there, trying to get in there. She's like, get out! That's my fucking minge, Mum! Trying to push something out, not take something else in. Just no. But that's, I think, my relationship with my parents as well. It's weird that with my mum I can be a lot more open. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have proper conversations, but equally I could make a joke about it or talk about it, and it wouldn't be a problem at all. Whereas my dad knew I'm a little princess. I don't really have a vagina. So
you're stitched up.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Nothing happens. And I wonder how my kids will be in that respect as well. Because will they grow up and be okay having that? Because I'd want them to come to me if there were any issues with anything around that. But it is such an awkward thing that would they feel comfortable? I think I'd hope they would. Maybe not Charlie.
I think that does come from you though as a parent, like how you make them feel around the conversation. Like, do you make them feel that they could come and talk to you? Because I never had that feeling. I remember, from my mum and dad, my dad's a farmer. And I used to go out working with him all the time. And during the calving season, he used to have this little orange book that sat in the pickup, and he used to have to write down the number of because the cows are tagged so that we know which cows are which, and they've got numbers on them and the farm number, whatever. And there was the word sex written in it. It was obviously the male or female sex. But I was like, oh my God, there's sex written in the book. This is, like, what do I do? Like, I knew it was male or female, but he'd written the word sex. And then he'd say, we have to sex the calf now. And I'm like, oh God, this... You can't talk. This is weird. I remember feeling so just unbelievably uncomfortable by the word sex, because it wasn't something that my family ever discussed. No. It was not a conversation.
So do you talk about it more? I know, like you said, you've given the kids the book.
Yeah, we do. So I haven't, we haven't talked about sex as such, but I talk to them a lot about puberty and how their bodies are changing and what to expect. Because Connor asked, he said to me, Mummy, why have you got a hairy willy? And I was like,
have you, Claire?
I haven't got a willy, Connor. I've got a vagina. And girls and boys are different. And you'll end up having a hairy willy just like Dad when you're older. Yeah. And he started laughing. He says, no, I won't. And we just try to be as normal as possible when it comes to talking about the different changes in our bodies. And about periods as well, because periods is a big thing it will be for our family, because I can already see the moods in Freya, and I've had to explain to Aidan, look, you are in a unique position is to understand a female body and a female cycle and what it's like to live with another female, because you're living with two of us. Yeah. And you're going to have to learn what it's like when somebody's not feeling very well or they're feeling a little bit fractious, and it's just the hormones that are surging at that certain times of the month. And they were not awkward about it at all. I know. I remember my friend telling me that her kids had seen her. I think she was changing a tampon or a pad or something like that, and they were horrified by all the blood. And she said, "Oh no, it's fine. Mummy's just eating too much beetroot." And they were like, "Oh, okay." Because they were too young to understand. Like periods, it was years and years and years ago. But I thought, what a lovely way to explain something that is happening relatively frequently if you were to notice it, without freaking them out. Because if you said it was blood coming from your vagina, like for 3 or 4 days a month, you'd be absolutely
I'm still mortified.
Yeah.
Stupid. I don't even have them anymore, and I still hate them. No.
Yeah, it does suck to be a woman.
Shit. There was a part in Fleabag where. Hold on, I'm trying to think.
Was it Fleabag?
Yeah, no, it was Fleabag, and she's talking to the woman, and she's just saying that women are born with pain, and that you're born, and as you grow, and then your boobs, and then your hormones, and you have all this pain, and men go off to find things to cause pain, whereas women, we live with pain in our lives on a daily basis, and then we have babies, and we have more pain, and then we get older and have the menopause, and men just go and start wars and things like that. And I was like, yes, this is true, and I want my boys to appreciate that the pain that us as females go through, because you don't know.
Yeah, no, they really don't.
You'll never have to experience some of this shit.
Yeah.
Fucking menopause. I'm not going through the menopause. It's not why I'm not having periods, by the way, because that's weird. I'm not that old. You can have it early.
My friend, who is 39, she's 40 this year, she's perimenopausal.
Really?
Now that, to me, it feels... Because I know my mum was really late going through her menopause, and I think a lot... Her siblings were all quite late going through it as well. So hopefully that is passed down on to me, and it's not something I've got to think about. But I mean, at 40, is that normal? I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know.
Davina McCall has just done a programme on menopause. I think menopause at 50. I've not watched it. That. No, she bugs me. So I haven't watched it as yet. But I might watch it because it might be interesting, actually, because it's going to happen. And I don't know enough about it. I don't
think it's a quick process either. I think it's something that goes on for a long time. I think that's
the issue, is it's strung the fuck out. Yeah. Like, it's not just here one day, gone the next. It's a long old
Sucks to be a woman.
It does. But also we are more powerful than men, which is why we have that. Sorry to our male listeners. But it's true.
But we get paid less for that power.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Let's darken it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Get all political.
Screw you, men.
Feminist.
Yes, that's it. Fucking all men. But no, it's weird, and I think that sex gets caught up in like body image as well, and so how we feel about our bodies, and it's not something that we talk about openly. No. But I am often naked in my house, not just like making a cup of tea or nothing. But
why not?
Because I don't want to. But I think that's more about my body image. If I lost this free stone that I'm carrying, then I probably would walk around naked because I'd be so excited, and I still wouldn't have shaved. Still have fucking hairy legs. But I don't want to. But I do walk around. I will walk around like in knickers and a vest, or get changed with my bedroom door open, and the kids are just sort of like that. Whereas the boys haven't seen Callum naked in a very long time. Since he sort of hit puberty, that was it. It was like nope.
Yeah.
The Charlie. I could probably say now, Charlie, go and streak naked across the grass, and he'd go, because he's just not fussed. He's very impressed with his body. So let the world see what I got.
Yeah,
is
good
his
for him.
sort of view. And whereas Bella is now 12, so at an age where
very conscious of her body. Yeah.
No one needs to see that, which is cool. And everyone's respectful of everyone's different ways.
Yeah.
That it's not, I'm not forcing anyone to get naked in front of me. They're not forcing me to cover up. It's just sort of, we know what works. That it's kind of fine.
Well, sometimes, like, we're a very naked family, and sometimes we're like, Trev and I do like to make sure that the children see us cuddle and that we're affectionate towards each other, because sometimes if we're not like deliberately we're naked, we must cuddle. But Connor has this thing where if he sees me and Trev cuddling, he needs to cuddle with us. But his head height is Trev's dick height, and it's just really, really,
that's uncomfortable.
It is really uncomfortable. So he has to be facing me, and then it's all just a bit of a. It's just too much. Like, it's fine to be naked, fine to be cuddling, but we don't need the toddler or the young child at the penis height.
No.
coming in for the cuddle as well.
No.
And going, Mummy, why are your legs so spiky?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Well, get used to it. Takes a fucking lot. Look, see, more pain. More pain.
So yeah, I think the more you can normalise it and just have the conversations. And why do we have to be awkward about it? Like, it does need to be personal because it is the most intimate and personal thing within your relationship, probably. So it doesn't need to be discussed on a kind of daily basis, but being able to talk about sex and being able to say, actually, yeah, we do have sex. It is something we all do.
Say that to who?
Just anyone. Just shout it from the rooftops. We have sex in this house.
Have sex. I want to go sleep. I'm so much fun.
See, I do have a lower sex drive than Tev does.
No.
I do feel sorry for him
sometimes. Has that always been, or has that been more as you've... Because I think is that part of being in a relationship for a long time? Because when you're first with someone, it's all fun and games. It's on 4 or 5 times a day.
I don't know. He'd hump me any time of the day. Honestly, I just need to walk past him and he's like grabbing my ass or...
And I'm like, please don't even look at me.
Giving me his toothless grin and it just doesn't...
Toothless grin?
Yeah, he's only got half a jaw of teeth at the moment because he's had some taken out. So yeah, and he knows I don't like it, but he does it like, kind of like gnarls at me and I'm like, oh, it's not the side that turns me on, Trevor. The other side might, but that side definitely not. So
but that's really important as well, is though to say what you do and don't find attractive, because otherwise it's a game with anything. If you don't tell someone, then how do they know? Like, I do not like people like kissing my neck. I don't like it, mate. Even just thinking about it now, it sets me on edge. Don't come near my neck ever. And Sam now knows this because I've nearly punched him about 20 times, and sometimes he does forget, and I'm like, I will hit you. Like, I don't. It just creeps me out. I don't know what it is, but he knows this now, so he will avoid. I feel like Pretty Woman. Like, just don't kiss me.
Anything above the shoulder, don't touch it.
Don't. Yeah, below the shoulders is fine, not above. But yeah, I've had to tell him because otherwise he would have kept. Like, don't touch.
Yeah, Trevor do that. Like, he'll nuzzle into my neck, and I don't like ear breathing. No, it sends shivers down my spine.
No,
it's
But see, it's being open about that, and I want the kids to be open, especially I think more like a Boo, maybe because she is my girl, but of being open in what she likes, what she doesn't, and being able to say no when she feels that she wants to. Because I think that the boys need to know that someone can say no, but she needs to know I can say no. I think we were talking about this briefly the other day in the hot tub, weren't we, about just being pressurised into situations kind of that you don't want to necessarily be in, but you feel like you've sort of got to go along with it. And you're like, I don't want her to ever think that. I want her to know, and I don't think Boo, she is such an independent girl already. She doesn't get drawn out in anything, but especially when it comes to boys, I'm like, don't just go out with him because you feel like it's time for you to go out with someone, and then don't like kiss a boy because you feel like you have to, and then definitely don't be having sex with someone. I remember that conversation now because I'm thinking I don't remember having that. There was a whole conversation.
Yeah, I totally remember that. That was a dark conversation. That's probably why I've pushed it to the back of my mind.
Probably. But it was an important conversation, especially for daughters, of not getting caught up in shit that you don't want to be involved in. Because
so how do you think you established that then?
I think with Boo, I would just sit and talk to her, and I can say that to Boo. Just don't do anything you don't want to do. Like if a bloke's putting himself on you or whatever else, not so much in those words now because she's 12. But even I've talked to her like about if someone came up and like touched your bum, like because Boo's got the best bum in the. It's such a good ass that people will touch her ass at some point. I constantly smack her ass, and I probably shouldn't, but it's just a good ass. She's got a good ass. And I've just said, like, boys will like your bottom at some point, but if any of them touch it, when you don't want them to, smack them or tell them to go away. Like, do not have to use violence, but I would smack them. And she's like, yeah, no, of course not. Yeah. And also she's got 2 big brothers, so she's very much like, and then I'll tell the boys, and they'll kick the shit out of someone. Like, yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right.
See, we've been trying to bear this in mind as well, because our kids, I wouldn't really call it wrestling. They bicker and they fight, and sometimes it gets a bit heated, and Aidan will sit on Freya and she's like, get off. And it's just a game, but it's gone too far. And so we're trying to make the children aware that when anybody says no, but especially if Freya says no,
then
she has to know that when she says no, that is the end. Nothing further goes beyond that. Even if it is you just, like, going to take a cushion off her, it could be anything, but it's just respecting the word no. And when somebody, when you feel the energy escalating, which you can do, that's something that we're all born with, that sense to be able to feel when something is rising, that if someone says no, that's too much, or stop doing that, that has to be respected.
And it does, and it needs to be known on both sides, because if we're teaching our girls that, but we're not teaching our boys that, then we're putting our girls still in a position that they don't need to be in.
Yeah.
Whereas if our boys know that as well,
yeah.
and I think it is that report that came out recently around how many, and it was male and female, that had been sexually assaulted, like, within schools and things, and it was, the numbers were staggering. It was quite scary.
For boys?
For both.
Okay.
Like, just the whole, how much, and sort of had gone unreported, and things like that, that it's just scary, and it's not always thinking about the big things like rape that are obviously terrible, but it's anything. It's like touching someone when they haven't asked, or grabbing a girl's boob. Like, why you don't? And I've had blokes do that, sort of come up at, like, when you're in a bar and grab your boob. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Do I know you? But you don't always. I'm a bullshit character, so I don't mind going fuck off, or not. But a lot of people wouldn't, and that's assault.
Yeah.
But you can't touch someone, and it's the same with women that. Going up to a bloke and grabbing his ass. Like, why are you putting your hands on someone when they've not invited that? Because you don't know what they've been through. So you grabbing their ass could be really, like, triggering for that person. Keep your fucking hands to yourself.
I remember that trend in school, actually, where people went around to slapping their arses, and it at the time, it was supposed to be fun. But I remember thinking, either if I wasn't getting my arse slapped and I was getting jealous of other people getting their arse slapped, and actually when I did get my arse slapped, I didn't like it. Oh no, it wasn't slapped, it was grabbed, it was being pinched. And sometimes it'd be your friends, like, you'd go around, and it was just a thing, but that should have just been, that the teacher should have just said no. And there should have been an assembly to say, look, about consent and about personal space and privacy and, you know, our own bodies, and being able to empower ourselves about what is appropriate and what's not.
Yeah.
It's quite frightening,
important.
isn't it? I think you're sending our kids out into the world.
But, like you said, I think that as long as you're having those conversations with your kids and making it normal and not shying away from it, like, the kids have probably heard us talk about some programmes that are really dark, and obviously in our house we do talk about stuff that maybe isn't always fully age appropriate or wasn't at the time, but also it's out there, and I'm not that parent that's going to shield them from everything, because I feel like then you're going to put them in a worse situation. I'd rather them know that there is dark shit that happens, but equally there is so much positive in the world, and there is so much stuff that people are doing to make the world a positive place. And by knowing that, they then, I hope, are in a better position to, one, go out and be decent human beings, but also be as safe as they can be. And that's for both of them. Like, or three. I've got 3 of them.
You have 3 children.
3 children. But yeah, it is. I want them to be safe and happy, and sex is fun, ultimately.
Yeah, it should be fun.
They are going to have it, and I want them to be able to enjoy it and not have... I think I don't know many people that don't have mistakes, shall we say, or have maybe slept with someone that they'd rather they didn't, even, like, and I'm talking consensual sex, but just maybe drunker than you would have liked, or just did it and then was like, why?
I know, why did I have to do that?
That was not right, and it still haunts them. But that also then is part of your story. So at the same time, if they go and sleep with 100 people and you're safe and it's all consensual, good for you. If you go and sleep with one person and then you get married and that's your life, good for you. That do what suits you at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. Because it should be fun, and there is a dark side to our physical bodies, but that's not what we want to touch on with this episode. I think we've touched on that before in previous episodes, but it's
have we?
Yeah, we did. I can't remember which episode it was, but there was a discussion about encounters that weren't necessarily invited and kind of felt endured.
do you know what? I keep meaning to go back to running, and I'm going to go back to running. And when I go back to running, I'm going to listen to the fucking podcast. I'm going to listen back.
Okay.
Because I have no idea of the shit that we've talked over the last 23 episodes. It'd be really cool.
It might be a good thing, actually, that you don't...
No, it probably is a good thing, but I feel like I'd be interested. I'd also like to see how... And I'd like your opinion on how we've evolved, on how we're still working for people. And, just intrigued. Because I honestly don't remember that from... I can't remember.
I don't remember the conversation, but I remember writing the trigger warning on the show notes. But so that we'll leave it there. Go and have some good sex tonight, everybody.
Talking today?
Anybody.
No, I'm going to bed.
Okay.
You go and have some good sex tonight, Claire.
I had good sex earlier.
Oh, so there you go. Even with a toothy grin. Did you do it the other side?
I had to turn his head.
Oh, bless Trev. Do love him.
Poor Trevor.
Yeah. He's a good egg.
He is a good egg.
He's a good egg, aren't Trev?
Right, we'll speak to you next week.
See you